Hello, welcome to this webinar on running no idling events. And thank you for your interest in running no idling events in your local area. My name is Claire McCowlin and I'm part of the National Clean Air Day team. Through this session, I'll be taking you through the no idling toolkit materials and give you suggestions on how to get the most out of your no idling events. All of the toolkit materials for no idling events can be downloaded from cleanairday.org.uk/no idling. Lots of additional resources to support wider action on air quality can also be found on the rest of the website. So, what are no idling events and why should we run them? Vehicles are a major contributor to air pollution in towns and cities. Vehicles which are stationary but still have their engines running are an unnecessary contributor to this problem, one that we can work together to address. In previous no idling events, we have worked with King's College London and the Cross River Partnership to monitor air quality on Clean Air Action Days. What we found was that in places where the no idling action was focused, peak concentrations of air pollution was reduced by as much as 20 to 30%. This was achieved simply by volunteers engaging drivers and asking them to switch their engines off. And that, at its core, is what a no idling event is all about. The full no idling toolkit can be downloaded from cleanairday.org.uk/no idling. The kit is made up of a pack for event organisers and one for the volunteers taking part in the events. There is also a health and safety template, training slide deck, introductory webinar for volunteers, example scenarios, posters, flyers and data collection forms. The Organisers pack includes information to help you recruit volunteers to take part in your event, including template scripts for phone calls or door knocking and example emails for mail outs to different audiences. The pack also includes FAQs and tips for recruiters and tools such as photo and filming permission forms. Within the pack is also a pledge for cleaner air, which is a useful tool in getting volunteers to commit to taking action. When recruiting your volunteers, one of the most important things is to make it easy for volunteers to commit by being very clear on what it is that you want them to do. We recommend 2-hour slots for a no idling event, but you may choose to run multiple events on any given no idling day. Anyone can volunteer for a no idling event, and volunteers could come from your own staff, local community groups, environmental groups, university students, or nearby businesses. We do recommend that volunteers are over 18. While children could participate, they would need to be accompanied by a responsible parent or guardian at all times. And we wouldn't recommend that under 18s approach the vehicles. Once you have recruited your volunteers, but before you take to the streets, it's really valuable to get your volunteers together for a training session. This helps to ensure that during your event, volunteers are confident, positive, and on message. The toolkit includes an annotated training slide deck to take you through a training session. Previous volunteers have emphasised how useful they found the role plays as part of the training to give them confidence before taking action. We have filmed some example scenarios to get you started, but do encourage your volunteers to practice some of the additional scenarios themselves. They may also find it useful to practice on friends and family before the no idling event. The training slide deck also looks at the problems of air pollution and other actions that volunteers can take in their day-to-day lives. As part of the training, hand out a volunteer pack to attendees and cover the logistics of the no idling event, including where to meet, how to dress, and contact details for the day. Talk to your volunteers about the importance of wearing high-vis jackets for the events and how to safely approach a vehicle from the curbside and never from the roadside. The Volunteers Pack reiterates information from the training, including mythbusters and common misconceptions about idling that volunteers can draw on in their conversations with drivers, and guides for how to go about approaching the drivers. Also in the pack are suggestions for how to talk about the event on social media. Make sure to give volunteers any specific handles, usernames and hashtags that you're using in your local area when you talk about air quality issues. The toolkit also includes a template health and safety document. Make sure to update this with your own information and confirm that it meets the needs of your event. Ensure that all volunteers have read, completed and signed your updated template prior to taking part in your events. This is for your safety and theirs. To measure the impact of the no idling events, we would like all participants to record the number of conversations they have and the outcome of those conversations. Depending on volunteer preference, this can be collected through an online form accessible on mobile or tablet or using the paper version. After the event, please scan and email the paper copies to cleanerair@globalactionplan.org.uk so that we can include them in the national results. We will then share the overall results on social media and the cleanairday.org.uk website, and we'll share local results with event organisers. The paper version of the form should be completed by using tally marks in the boxes relevant to the conversation. I'll show you the online form now. The online data collection form can be accessed, as I said, on a mobile phone or on a tablet. To get started, press the Start button. Enter in the information for whereabouts you are. So this could be, for example, York High Street. We need the city and location to be able to feed the information back to local organisers. It also helps us to identify narratives around areas of particularly high concern or particularly good behaviour. The next request is to complete the type of vehicle, whether it's an ambulance, a car, a minibus or a lorry, for example. The form then asks when the driver switched off. So once you approach the driver, initially determine whether the vehicle's engine is on. If the engine is already switched off, select Before We Asked, go and have a conversation with the driver about the positive action that they're already taking and hand them a flyer anyway. If the engine is on, then identify when it was that they switched it off. Was it when we initially asked? Was it after some additional myth busting? Maybe they didn't switch the engine off at all, or maybe there's some other response. Please give extra information if you provide other. And finally, we're just looking to find out how many people are in the vehicle. This is so that we can determine the reach of the no idling days, how many people have received the information about them. Finally, submit the form. Do this for every interaction with a vehicle that you carry out, and then to record the details for the next vehicle, simply refresh the page, which will take you back to the beginning of the form, ready to enter the details for another interaction. On the day, make sure your volunteers are clearly briefed and are wearing appropriate and high-vis clothing. Ensure they have your contact details to hand and that they are positioned at a safe location to carry out the no idling event. It may be that on the day of your event, there is little traffic in the area or little appropriate traffic in the area. So make sure to provide a couple of alternative backup locations that volunteers can move on to if they're not finding any drivers that they can engage with at the time. Spread the word about the excellent work your volunteers are doing on social media. Include photos to bring the event to life, but make sure you have completed photo permission forms for everyone whose photos you use. Template photo and video permission forms are included in the No Idling Toolkit. When talking about the event, make use of relevant local hashtags. Also use the hashtags No Idling, National Clean Air Day, or Air Quality in your messaging to help reach the messaging further and to help us to pick up on it and share it wider as well. Finally, we want to wish you the best of luck in running your no idling events and hope you and your volunteers have a great time. Thank you for creating cleaner air for everyone.